I wanted to go over the Python integrated development environment, better known as Python idle in class. First thing you need to know is if you're going to use Python, we need a place to type code. And we have the Python shell as part of the Python integrated development environment. We can use a Python shell as a calculator. We can use it to print something out. Notice that print is a function and we send it what we call a string, and then it just echoes it back to us, or it displays it to the screen. How does that happen? Well, Python is not a compiled language. What this means is that when you type something, for example here, we're going to type print 5. As soon as we hit enter, it almost in real time returns the 5 for us. So what this means is that it's interpreting what we type. Remember from chapter 1, we were talking about compilers and interpreters. Well, Python uses an interpreter. So we type code in what's called high-level programming, and once we hit enter, or once we hit run, if we create a file as we've seen in class, and I'll show you that in a little bit, then Python interprets our statements, converts them to machine language, and then the computer can execute our program. However, in other languages like C++, when you type high-level language programming statements, they're compiled and then they're turned into machine language. So it's a difference there. Once the machine language is created from the compiler, then the computer can run the statements that are executed. Okay, going on. I wanted to show you that you can also create a file new, and this is what's called a script file, or a Python script file. You can type statements also. You can do the same, print you can do print and then something. Notice that when you hit enter, nothing happens. So what we have to do is we have to go to run and then run module, and it's going to ask us to save this. I'm going to simply say sample1, and then the extension is a python.py file. So we save it, and then you can see here that Python's telling us that it ran sample1.py file and displayed a 9. So there's that's how we'll be using Python in our class. We'll be creating script files, and you will be creating your programs from script files, and then you'll be running them as modules. One good thing about using the Python.py files is that it, like the idle, it provides syntax highlighting. So for example here, this is a string, we'll cover that. This is an integer, and this is a float, and finally this is a boolean. But notice how Python provides different colors for us. So if it's a function from Python, then it puts it in purple. This is a boolean variable. It's either true or false. In this case, false. Not a boolean variable, or a boolean value. One other thing I wanted to show you all. Back we go to the interpreter. If we do type, and then for example we do a number, then what Python's going to do is it's going to tell us that the number 9 is of type integer. If we do print 9.2, then okay, let's try again. If we do type 9.2, then it's going to tell us that it's of type float. And if we do type S, it's going to tell us it's type string. And if we do type false, it's going to tell us that it's bool or a boolean. So those are the four data types that we've worked for, that will work for at the beginning, maybe for the first 2-3 weeks. So it's important that you all understand the difference. So a string and a boolean, you cannot perform mathematic operations. You can't. So if you keep that in mind, you will save yourself a lot of problems in the future. I wanted just to give a brief overview of the Python tools that we'll be using in this class, and mainly we'll be using script files to write code. Once we hit run, then it'll display it on the Python shell, and this is known as a Python integrated development environment.